charge.
All right, let's call the meeting to order. And the first item would be the approval of minutes. Would you like a moment to look at them, or do I hear a motion?
I move that we accept the minutes from, are we doing all at once or one at a time?
All at once, let's
Okay.
do it all.
I move that we accept the minutes from May 4th and the May 14th meeting.
I second the motion.
All right, any discussion? Okay, if there's no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? All right, now we'll move on to the regular agenda. Jessica?
All right, so your first item is agenda item 3A, which is discuss and consider a COA for the property located at 110 North Church Street. I'm sure you're all familiar with this project. We met about it roughly 2 weeks ago. So the applicant is Scott Henderson, and the work that, sorry, this thing's working all the way. So what they are requesting is to install 2 exterior light fixtures on the front facade of the building, and then also brought back the paint color that they had talked about at our last meeting. So just as a quick refresher, at the May 14th meeting, HLPC approved the replacement of the front doors, the wood siding, the plate glass windows, and painting of the front and the rear of the building. The painting does not include painting brick. It would be painting the wood on the front as well as the full back of the building. For this item, it is 2 light fixtures that are black metal and illuminate downwards, as is recommended in our design guidelines. And then the paint color is the Sherwin-Williams Holiday Turquoise, which I believe goes with the logo of the business that will be moving in. And this would be painting the wood frame on the front along with a black trim around it. And staff find that B, D, J, and K of your ordinance relate to this, as well as the design guidelines for commercial structures talks a bit about the lighting, as far as using lighting to unify the building composition at night, and then to balance the color and intensity of the lighting among the building features. I will say, as far as on Church Street, there's not very much lighting. We do not have any of the antique light fixtures down that street. And so right now, I believe the building lighting, some of them have sconces on individual buildings, and then there's like a string of lights under that awning. So this would be an entirely new, or 2 new light fixtures on that one. So you can see here is the map of 110 North Church. We all know the old Milford's Barber Shop. That is the existing facade before all the work started. And essentially this is what you all approved on the 14th with the addition of these 2 light fixtures, and then you can see a mock-up of what the colors will look like if approved. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, and the applicant is here as well.
Could you go back to the previous picture?
Yes. Yeah, so last time they approved the single door to double doors and shrinking the plate glass windows a bit to be similar to other buildings around.
I should know this, but is the brick in the back of the building painted?
It is. It's not brick. It's a plaster cover. I'm assuming over brick, but it is fully painted right now.
Okay, and it'll be this color as well?
Yes, it's that Sherwin-Williams Holiday Turquoise is what the applicant is requesting.
Okay.
I'll mention that's on historical color palette.
It is.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Now, we normally do not consider paint here, but so be it. Okay.
We're not allowed.
All right. Any questions, further questions? All right, do I hear a motion?
I make a motion we approve COA 2026-010 for the approval of the light fixtures and the exterior painting.
Okay, a second?
A second.
Okay.
I want to discuss, if we could.
Sure.
So, I wasn't here last time. As far as the paint color goes, that's not something we can enter into based on J?
Well, unless it is an extreme, it seems like we can do it if it's an extreme situation, for example, like the
Like the murals.
The murals, yes.
Yeah, so with paint color, HLPC can approve painting as a concept as far as like we're repainting something that's currently painted. HLPC definitely gets into more of a discussion if it's this is unpainted brick and now we're wanting to paint over it. And then if it really goes into the territory of it's a mural. Typically solid paint color does not come before y'all, but since it was listed on the application with other items, we brought it in, and the applicant wanted to make sure that the committee had seen the paint color before it went up.
Okay.
And I think we do normally just advise that they go to the showroom, they have a paint palette, so.
Yes, there's a Benjamin Moore and a Sherwin-Williams historic color palette, which is usually what we advise. It's not in our ordinance per se, but we do advise that. But I always caution people that even those historic color palettes have pinks and purples and blues and a lot of different, usually they're more of the muted pastel colors, not necessarily neons and things like that. And so I always advise people to go to that paint palette, but it's a lot broader than a lot of people expect, I think.
Yeah, that's my point. I hate to do it because I love that anything's happening down here. We definitely need an ice cream shop, and it needs to be fun. But that's my what I noticed was just in terms of the character of the downtown area. To me, that stood out as something that wasn't quite in line with it.
Okay.
So I don't know. It was discussed last time. Sorry, I wasn't able to be here, but I wanted to just kind of put that on the table and just make sure we really thought that through. If that's something that's.
Yeah, I mean, last time we just talked about the door. We didn't have paint colors last time.
The door looks great, the lights are amazing, in my opinion. That all works to me, but that's a bump for me, just in terms of just reinforcing the feel of downtown, and to me, I think that brightness of that color is not quite right.
Does the owner have an optional color picked out?
Now, that color is the color that the tenant's ice cream shop is. In Lufkin, they wanted to keep the same color scheme. And that just so happens it's also on the historic color palette.
Right.
So
Okay.
that's where it came from. We really had to pick an alternative. They kind of wanted to have the same colors. And it was fortunate that it was on that color palette, so. In fact, I told them that your color's gonna have to be on that palette. We want it to be, and they said, well, that's where it came from. So, well, how about that? So, anyway,
Okay.
no, we didn't have an alternate. That was, we're trying to accommodate the tenant that's putting that shop in.
Okay, and just for my clarity, where is that decision usually sort of like vetted?
Where is the decision
On
for?
colors and things like that?
Typically just with the property owner.
Oh, okay.
Usually if it's a surface that's currently painted and the owner comes to us and fills out a COA and says, I'm gonna paint it, it was red, it's gonna be orange. Typically that does not come before HLPC because it's paint for paint. And it's not painting a new surface, it's not changing the feel of the building unless it delves into that mural, if they're wanting to paint 10 different colors and do more of a pictorial feel of it versus just solid paint colors. So typically this would be considered ordinary maintenance. If it is painting brick, doing murals, then that always comes before HLPC for review.
Do we have any say on like what type of paint? Like if it's an oil versus water-based or anything like that?
No, that is not currently in our ordinance or design guidelines. Really, a lot of the design guidelines say, it needs to, or it's recommended to fit within the neighborhood, within the streetscape, within the historic color palettes. And a lot of our design guidelines, which are a bit outdated, they were written in 1991. I'm working on getting those updated. A lot of it says, use high quality materials, is repeated in several different areas. So it doesn't say oil versus water or metal versus aluminum and different things. So it very much advises high quality, but not necessarily specifics.
I think the color palette, what's happening is it's a little general just at first glance. I mean, a lot of that's coming from Victorian homes that were intentionally designed with the stronger colors in mind. I think when you look at the downtown, the cohesiveness of the brick and all the other things that are kind of natural to the character, to me, this is like a bright spot. It doesn't fit as much as like it would on a Victorian home, some Queen Anne or something like that. So my input would be I'd love to see more options that maybe could still fulfill the goals of the owner, that maybe reflects their brand still. Maybe there's a way to bring it in a little bit less dominatingly. So that's just my point. If that's possible, great. I don't know. I'm just putting it on the table.
Well, if you'd like to make a motion that we ask the tenant to
Okay.
reconsider the paint, then I think that's okay.
Okay.
Are we allowed to do that?
No.
So as the applicant has applied, it's for this paint color and these light fixtures. And so as a committee, you could make a motion in a second and vote for approving the light fixtures, but not approving the color. You can approve the light fixtures and ask them to bring back another application for the color. But also, this paint was lumped in here because it was on one application. If they do request just a solid color in another COA application, that really does fall under ordinary maintenance, so may not be brought back before HLPC. Really, this one is more of a courtesy, because I will say on that block, you know, Blue Horse Bakery used to be a bright blue building. There are purple buildings downtown. So really this is the color palette, and they bring it before HLPC, or we bring it before HLPC with the paint color if it's lumped in with other items, not necessarily on its own. So for this one, you could make a motion to approve the light fixtures and deny the painting, but then it would give the owner alternate routes. But I do think it is worth having the conversation, because that's something a little outside of today, but redoing these design guidelines so it's more of a direct recommendations on color palette versus, you know, just pick a historic one. It could be more of a specific, you know, for the Virginia Avenue district, it should be these colors. For downtown, it should be these colors. So I do think that's something that HLPC I would be bringing to y'all this summer to at least start working on.
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
Yeah. So I do think that gives us, I don't want to say some teeth because that makes y'all sound scary, but I do think it gives some additional guidance as far as, you know, in the future, if it's something where we feel like, hey, we didn't love this paint color and we think downtown could look different, then we could have some further design guidelines. And as far as preservation wise, paint's temporary. So this color may not be everyone's favorite, but on the preservation side of things, we're repainting something that's already painted. So it's not going to affect the building long term, but I do understand the thought behind, like, it may not fit with some of the other buildings.
Because we've had some concerns recently about paint that we may not have particularly liked, but we really can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Well, if it significantly changes the character of that little neighborhood, then we should consider it. Because we're not protecting just the building, but we're protecting the historic district. We're thinking about the neighbors. And I would like to kind of see how much paint's going to be on the back of the wall. How much is it?
That's the other side. That'll be a big space of
Let me,
color.
Do you have a picture of that?
Comment on the printout, the color, I mean, to me, it looks different,
It's
like,
light blue.
yeah, it looks lighter when you look at the actual tile on a phone screen, for example,
this
but
is actually what it looks like.
Ooh, boy.
to me, that looks completely different.
Dark blue on here.
Yeah, that
It
does
just-
look different than what,
I almost personally have a harder time with this one
Yeah,
because it's even stronger in my opinion.
what's the name of that thing? What do they call it?
Holiday turquoise.
Holiday turquoise.
Holiday?
Holiday turquoise.
You know, who thinks up the names?
you don't wanna see this picture too?
Yeah, I agree with you that just in the spirit of doing whatever we can do to, from here on, you know, to make the best decisions possible, we all want this to just be the most amazing downtown and inviting place, and there's nothing in us that wants to hinder motivated people. So let that be known. I'm really glad when anything is improving it down here, but I would love to see it maybe be reconsidered, even if that's, you know, not gonna happen. If we're done discussing, I'll.
Well, if you'd like to make a motion that we just do the light, do
I'd
what
make a
you.
motion that we approve the lights
Yes,
and that we don't approve the paint,
ask the applicant to reconsider.
and ask the applicant to maybe provide some, well, reconsider, and a side note too. We'd
Okay.
love to see them back to maybe show some other ideas if they're willing.
We have a motion now. Do I have a second? We don't have a second.
I'm kind of in the boat of like, until we can do something and something change, I don't feel 100% right not, you know, letting them do it now.
Well, if we don't have a motion, that motion fails.
Correct. The
So
motion would
if I-
die for lack of a second.
Do I have another motion, any other motion, or any more discussion, in fact? Then we do need a motion.
I made a motion.
Yes?
I made the motion to approve it, and Mitzi seconded, so we need to do that again?
I didn't, okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's right, we did, and then we started discussing.
And we-
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry. So yes, we would need to vote on
Okay.
the initial motion first. I'm very sorry, I forgot we had a,
Okay.
had a motion.
I lost track of the discussion. Okay,
We
we have a
lost the
motion.
plot here.
Just consider the approval of COA flat out. Is that what your motion was?
Yes.
And you seconded?
Yes.
Okay, then we're gonna vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Does pass. Okay,
Let me get back to our original PowerPoint.
Never had a motion within a motion before.
pardon?
Never had a motion within a motion before.
Yeah, that's my fault. I'm sorry.
Believe it or not, it happens more often than you would think.
But
When
I
these
did wish
discussions,
we had some say about color or something like that.
Okay.
So.
absolutely, and since this has been the, kind of the overwhelming desire of the committee, I will definitely bring back some stuff about design guidelines later on this summer to start that discussion. But your next item is 3B, discuss and consider a certificate of appropriateness for 200 East Main Street. And this is not actually the CVB building itself, it's the landscaped area around it. That's just the only address we had to put on here, which is COA 2026-006. So this applicant is requesting to install a metal plaque honoring the Texas Spanish patriots of the American Revolution. The applicant is the DAR here in Nacogdoches. And they are requesting to do a plaque that is blue with gold lettering, made of metal, and on a freestanding pole. If approved, it will be placed in one of the flower beds landscaped area around the CVB. Since it is city-owned property, the city manager has final say on, as any property owner would, where exactly the plaque will go. But the applicant is requesting to put it in one of the landscaped areas and not mounting it to a building of any sort. And so staff find that city ordinance criteria B, J, and K relate to this project, as well as the design guidelines, chapter 10, talks about locating pole-mounted signs in landscaped areas, and then also, like we talked about earlier, investing in high-quality sign material. So I have a few pictures. These were provided by the applicants, who are also here and can answer any questions you may have. But this is a mock-up of a proposed sign placement and of what the sign would look like. This is not the text on the sign, it's just an example for you. But you can see the design here, the blue background with the gold design, and then it would be pole mounted. Oh, those are the only pictures I have for you. And like I mentioned, this is where it's being proposed, and our city manager will have to sign on whether it's in that flower bed or one of the other ones around the CVB. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, and the applicant is here as well.
What kind of pole will it be mounted on, and is there risk of rust?
Metal pole?
A metal gold pole,
A gold metal pole.
A gold metal?
cap above the plaque itself, will have a ball.
Oh, okay. So it's going to have a ball on top, so it'll be capped to the top so you don't have water seeping down in it. And this is a similar pole to what we see on all of those Texas Historic Commission markers and things like that.
Okay, I just don't want it to rust and deteriorate, and then
Absolutely.
is somebody going to maintain it is what I was concerned
DAR
about.
would not ever stand by and have a rusty.
They're very proud of their projects, which is great.
So the DAR will be responsible for maintaining it, or will the city?
So typically, once a plaque is put on a city property, the city does the maintenance while informing DAR, things like that. If we've had it in the past, if someone puts up a sign like this and someone hits it with their car and knocks it over, the city's not going to replace it as far as buying a new sign. But if it's something where a pole gets knocked over, we'll stand it back up. We typically do the cleaning, things like that. But if it's a completely damaged where it can't be salvaged, we go back to the group and say, your sign got knocked down, we can't fix it. If you want to put up a new one, bring it to us and we'll put it back up, type of thing. Which is what we do we have many Texas Historic Commission markers that were applied for in the 60s and 70s and 80s that the city has de facto become the caretaker of. So we do something similar on those.
Now, we do have a picture that says proposed location. Is that not finally yet, though?
So that one, we just have to get final sign off from our city manager. He did say he was fine with doing a freestanding sign in the landscaped area. Was interested to look and see if it might fit better over near Gilly Barbo's statue, since I believe the subject matter talks about E. Barbo a bit. And there's quite a few landscaped areas over there. So it would be, y'all would be approving, if you approve, would be approving a freestanding pole mounted sign in that landscaped area on that lot, essentially.
Any further discussion?
How would you go about if every organization wants to put in some kind of signage in that area? Are they limited? Is the city limited as to how many signs they can put around the CVB, or is it?
So there's no written down limit as far as we can only have 10 signs. Any sign wanting to be put on a city property first has to go to the city manager saying, you're the property owner, essentially, do you want a sign here? If the city manager says yes, and then if it's in a historic district, we take it through y'all. Years and years ago, there used to be a downtown plaque and sign policy, plaque and marker policy. Jeff, you may have been here when we wrote this a long time ago. I don't know. I don't mean a long, long time ago. But I don't think that has been referenced in quite a few years. And that's something, if this committee is concerned about, we may get too many plaques, or, America 250 is wonderful, but I think there's going to be a lot of groups that want to put up a lot of things. So it may be worth this committee reviewing kind of that policy, because to the best of my knowledge, it went through the property owner, then to HLPC. I believe it went to the CVB board as well before it could be approved. Okay. So that may be something we can revive and look at, but there's no set, we can only have 20 or 15 or any number like that currently. Okay.
And once this is in, like this is gonna sound horrible, but is it in permanently, or is there a process to remove it? Let's just say there was something that the city wanted more than this sign there. Is it just a permanent decision?
So as of right now, it would be something we'd put it in and there was not an intention to remove it. If something happens and the city sells off that entire block and it's no longer the city property, then the new property owner could do what they'd like to with it. It's not something that's gone through a state or through the Texas Historic Commission, so I would hope there would be notification to the DAR that sign was going to be moved and given back to them. It's not often the city will move things around unless there's something new that needs to get put in or property changes hands. But once it is put on city property, excuse me, it can be moved to a different place in that landscaping if needed.
Okay, because just sort of a thought is, and this is not a comment at all on the worthiness of this sign. I'm just curious about, is this, if this is our decision to decide what should be remembered in that spot, or if it's just simply like, hey, that's already been approved, we just decide if it should go here or not. I might have missed it in what you just said, but feels like it's, we're not really qualified to decide this is something that should be remembered right here or not. So can you speak to that at all? I mean, am I
Sure.
understand the process properly?
Yeah, so the process right now, if we follow the very old process from that downtown marker policy, even that policy didn't look at the context of or didn't look at the content of the marker. It was just, we're wanting to put a marker here. HLPC reviewed placement as far as appropriate. CVB reviewed placement. I'm not sure what their criteria was. But there is no overarching, here's what we think should be remembered in these certain spots. Texas Historic Commission does a lot of review of that, of those official THC markers that if you say, I want to do a marker on Jeff Apt, they look at it and say, okay, we get this history, but it has to be here because that's the only place that makes sense in the historic context. They won't let you just put it somewhere else. So for state organizations like that, there is overarching. I know DAR does have a criteria for what type of markers they would like to place, and I'm sure they'd be happy to speak about that. But there isn't an overarching city kind of goal as far as we want to celebrate this part of history at this corner, this thing over here, unless it's really site specific to this building stood here.
And adding who these people are. I mean, I would hate to put up a sign that's commemorating somebody that maybe we wouldn't want to commemorate.
I know each different committee like DAR, or different group like DAR, DRT, they have their own criteria. I don't know what that is. I don't know if y'all could speak. Would you like to come up here so we can record on the mic?
It's less about the specific sign, a little bit more about just kind of how we do things in
Absolutely.
town and.
Understand the historic value.
Okay, the historic value of this marker is that a lot of people don't have, not aware of the knowledge that Texas played in the American Revolution. And this marker tells of the cattle that came through on 21 that was provided to Antonio Gilly Barbeau, inspecting the cattle and sending them on to Louisiana to the governor Galvez. And the marker will say, this is the wording that has been approved: the American Revolution, August 1779, cattle inspection by Antonio Gilly Barbeau, sent to Bernardo de Galvez as aid against the British Texas Society DAR. Okay.
Great, thank you.
It also must
If you-
face.
Please state your name too, if you would.
I'm Dorothy Smith, Regent in Nacogdoches chapter of the DAR. The plaque must face the El Camino Real because that is the route that the cattle took. And it is significant because they played a major role in providing beef for the revolutionary soldiers that were that picked up the cattle on the peninsula of Florida. The cattle went to the Opelousas and were handed over to Galvez. He loaded them on his 4 ships and he sent them to Pensacola, and that's where they were unloaded and given to our revolutionary soldiers. But the plaque, the only place that it can face would be Main Street.
Okay, now we have a real issue here. We've got, I didn't know that the city manager had the sole right of placing plaques when and where, but I think really that comes to us, actually. He may propose something, and no, I don't,
Well, the picture where
yes,
this other plaque is,
yes,
it's right, it's in a flower bed. It's right in front of the westernmost corner of the CVB that faces Main
okay.
Street.
We see the picture. Now, we have a problem because apparently the city manager would like to have some input. And you're saying if it's not there, you don't want the plaque.
Well, no, it has to, we'll
that sounds like
try
what
some
you're
other
saying.
place in Main Street. We thought it would be really pretty there.
Well,
Because
that-
the plaque is blue with gold letters and, it's right by the visitor center.
Sure.
And, well,
You see
Barbeau is
you see
around
our-
the corner.
You see how we're kind of mixing stuff around here. The city manager wants to input, and it's coming before us, and we apparently have no input of where it goes. And I don't think that's right. I don't think that's, so,
And I would add that this is, to me, like a choice spot. Like, this is a really premium spot, in terms of exposure. And so no comments on, on content of this, but just like, that's a pretty significant decision in my mind.
And I will mention as far as, with the city and city manager, if HLPC recommends approval of this application as stated with this spot in mind, it is highly unlikely that the city would put it on a different spot in that area, especially knowing with DAR that their restrictions are it needs to face the El Camino Real. Really, the only option would be there, or there's a landscaped area on the other side that still faces El Camino Real. It's just the opposite corner. And so it would be essentially, if HLPC approves as written, we take it to the city manager and say, they said it was appropriate here. Are you good with this? As kind of a formality. Same thing if we had some other organization that says, well, I want to put, just like we had recently with all of the Oak Grove cemetery markers, where they proposed we want to put markers at these 4 grave sites. HLPC approved it, and they're going to work with our cemetery staff to say, like, is it going to be to the left of this headstone or the right, or a foot this way so we can mow around it. So it's that similar process that we've gone through with those Oak Grove markers would be something similar on this.
okay. sounds like, I'm just to comment, we probably should have we want a motion before, we're already discussing this pretty heavily. Do I hear a motion about this one way or the other? If there is no motion, Jessica, how we do that, that means it fails.
I mean, let me make a motion.
Pardon?
I move that we approve this.
Okay.
As long as the sign is where it is in the picture.
Okay, in the front of this, on the main street, there you go.
Yes, facing Main Street.
Trying to think what corner that was. I'm not great with directions.
It's not the
Northwest
west
corner.
corner.
I'd like to discuss, do we vote first?
Okay, no, we have a motion now, do we have a second?
I second.
Now,
Now we can officially discuss.
Now we can discuss, we can really discuss it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, yeah,
Sorry. Anyway, I feel bad on one hand, but also like, just in terms of, again, this is a permanent decision in my view, like this is gonna be what's there. And I feel, a little cornered in terms of what we're highlighting, not that shouldn't be highlighted, but I think I just feel cornered that this is our decision. It's either just put this here for the foreseeable future, or we deny this in hopes that, you know, that spot is preserved for something that's maybe a little more, I mean, I think of all the tourism here and what's gonna really, you know, get people's attention. Is that the information we want right there at that spot? So
it's an important spot.
it's an important spot.
On the other side of the CBB, it's the Battle of Nacogdoches, isn't that the sign there?
Yes.
Yeah, it's important. That surely would go there.
Right.
And in some sense, it could go anywhere, it sounds like, on
Camino Real.
on the Camino Real,
Right.
as long as it's in our, anyway. So,
Yeah.
we are now, we're moving the city manager out of this. Is that what we're doing?
No,
It
so
sounds like we have a motion that the city manager, we're gonna approve it for this spot. That's what we have before us.
yes.
And
I know we haven't voted. My recommendation, my thought would be that, you know, we'll make a definitive vote, but I would just want to say I'm in support of this being remembered. I'm just personally not feeling like that's the best place to do it. So I'm inclined to deny it so that we could just come back, hoping that there would be a different spot for this to be celebrated, and maybe this one is something we reserve, something that's as
Yeah.
significant maybe as that.
okay. El Camino Real is, you know, okay, good. Any other discussion?
Question, is there somewhere else that it could be located other than the garden area around the CVB? Is
That
there
you feel
somewhere
excited
else
about?
on the El Camino?
So that would be a
In
question
town?
for the applicant.
Other places you've considered along this area?
We didn't wanna, you've got some big black things up, we were moving it away from the big black ones, is what we were
Oh, the
basically
THC
doing.
markers. The Texas Historic Commission markers.
Yeah, yeah, and we wanted to keep it in the vicinity of the, statue that we come in here tomorrow, because it is about him.
Okay.
And you can't put it on the other side
Why
because of
not?
the big horse.
Why, what? Oh, the big horse.
Oh, you wouldn't
What
see
could
it.
you put it-
It's beautiful, it's beautiful,
Uh,
but there isn't a place to put it over there.
It probably would be appropriate anywhere on this, but if you want it on the El Camino Real, we're just talking about the square would be, how about a can we put signs up, freestanding signs on the sidewalk? There's one there, I think it's the Stagecoach, I think.
I believe there's one in front of Commercial Bank.
Commercial Bank, yeah.
I believe that was put in probably in the 70s or 80s. I don't think it would be approved now, just because it would impede the sidewalk. And now we have more of those ADA standards as far as like width that you need to leave open. So I don't know 100% sure if it would be approved or not. I would have to go back and do some research on that one, honestly, to mount it into a sidewalk.
If you put it on the sidewalk across the street and it has to face the El Camino Real, you're either gonna have to set it way back or up But if you set it up, people would have to walk in the street to see
Well,
it.
right now, there is a state marker there. But
Yeah.
my only bring that up is, we have a question here we're discussing, is that that is a prime spot on the CBE on this historic plaza. And so, and
Nobody's used it yet.
I don't suggest anything.
That is true, that's what makes this difficult.
But it's an important thing to discuss. Is this a historic subject that we want to put? This is a big spot. So I think it's appropriate to discuss
Yeah, does the significance of that event match the significance of this
of the space.
location?
Yeah.
Well, I think it does, because the role of Nacogdoches and the El Camino Real in the American Revolution, I think, is very important. Because people, like she said, don't really realize that Texas played a part, and the people of Texas played a part in that revolution.
Okay. Or we might say the people of, yep, okay. I was gonna say the people of Mexico played a part. Okay. We hadn't revolted ourselves yet. All right, we have a motion before us. Any further discussion before we vote on this motion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I'll say I oppose too. I think it's an important spot we should reconsider. So it's all, we have how many in favor?
4.
Okay, 4-2, okay. The motion passed.
And that is all I have for you. We will go back to our regular schedule as far as the first Monday of the month, starting in July. So your meeting will be July 6th at 4 p.m. All right.
Jessica.